Hi there. Second time lucky. I hope you can hear me. I'm just going to put the chat room on so I can actually see whether you can hear me. Just making sure. Please make sure, can you say if you can say yes if you can hear me? Ah, Marie, you can hear me. Thank goodness for that. Whee! Okay, right. This is second time lucky. Gosh, this was, I presumed it was working perfectly as it should have been. So bear with me 1 second while I just get back to the beginning of this. Hopefully we shall get back into there. Right. I'm just going to share my screen again. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. Let me just come back into the chat room to make sure you can. It's working now. You can hear me and you can see. Thank God for that. Okay, right. So this was really just to let you know that on 31st, which is Sunday the 31st of January, we have a meeting at Heathrow. We'll be joined by Miguel Oliveira, who's a Portuguese Ruby director, and ourselves. So invite your guests, invite your customers to come along and have a look at this opportunity that is Jeunesse. I will leave that on the slide just for a few seconds, just so you can take details down. So just look at the TW50B or 0BU, that's the postcode that you need to put into your sat nav, and really, you know, kind of get as many people as possible as you can to come along. Okay, we started off saying, you know, it's really a time to draw a line in the sand. And we've all made our New Year's resolutions, and most of them are dispatched to the bin by the end of the first week or so. But it's really deciding to make a change in your life. And it's a time to make those changes that really make a difference in your life. So you need to make that decision. You have to have that decision that you're going to do something different to get different results. So as I say, draw that line in the sand, and if that could be weight loss, it could be exercise, it could be all sorts of things. You just have to make the decision and get committed to doing it. The Zen Project 8. Excuse me, my throat's clogged up now, all that panic. Then Project 8. You'll start to hear an awful lot about Project 8. And the reason that it's called Project 8 is because it's designed around an 8-week system. And it's designed to detox your system in the first week using the 3 products. You reduce your diet, you clean out your system. You then, the second week onwards for the next, you know, kind of 7 weeks, you start to go to ignite phase. And that's where your body eats more foods. You actually use the products as well. You introduce exercise, but you also start to melt the fat in your body, which is what it's all about. It's not just about weight loss. And then the third phase is thrive. And thriving is how you actually, you know, kind of make a difference in your life. Something to be living for the long term, not just I've lost the weight or I've lost those inches, because we all know that it works, you know, backwards and forwards. It's yo-yo dieting, it's so unhealthy. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to start your Zen Project 8 transformation. It's important. They knew that when they started the whole system, they knew that they'd got a winner. They knew that the whole system was working. They'd been researching it and testing it for a good 2 years. And so this Project 8 system transformation is really quite important. They knew there were a few minutes a few things that were missing. And some of the elements that were missing was they needed to have a community that people can join, that feel part of, that they can share each other's stories, share their grievances if they've got a problem with something, you know, or just purely in this closed community. And that's what Project 8's Facebook community is. Now, it is a closed group, so you have to be accepted into the group. You can be accepted as a customer, a distributor, or just someone from, you know, kind of before even becoming a customer. But you have to be accepted into the community. Once you've been accepted, you can download your Zen Project 8 plan. Now, they've devised this plan, which is really quite astonishing. And it's about, as I said, detoxing, igniting, and thrive phases. And those 3 phases do certain things within your body. Now, all this has been devised by Mark McDonald, who's quite a celebrity fitness instructor. He's more than that. He's a health professional. He's an ex-footballer as well. So he's been in the health and fitness industry for a long, long time. He's also a kinesiologist. So he's our go-to for the professional backup you have. And if you haven't already ordered your Zen products, make sure you do. If you're new to this and just looking at this as a customer, then get back to the person who showed you about the Zen products, and you can order it through them, through their website. If you're a distributor, then you need to order your Zen products through your back office. And we can show you a little bit further how to take that, how to do that at the end of this. So you need to start taking some before pictures, and you need to take them from the front, the side, and the back. And wear not loose clothing that covers you all up. You need to take some fitting clothing, so either a swimsuit or kind of a skinny top and track bottoms or whatever. You need to take weight and measurements. Your weight, I actually haven't got a pair of scales, but I took my measurements, and I'm even pleased with the measurements that I've lost. So I have no idea what I weigh, which is probably a blessing. You also have, you can tune in and experience the live coaching. And this has been taken primarily from this coaching. It happens every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Central Time, or Eastern Standard Time, sorry. And that will end on the 29th of February. Now, you can actually log into the website and actually go to the Google Hangouts that they put on each week. So you can go back and play it as many times as you want if you need to recharge yourself or re-energize yourself or understand why things are happening the way they are. And then obviously you're going to be taking your after pictures, and you're going to be looking at your weight and your measurements as well. And I think you'll be quite surprised at the difference sometimes with the measurements and the weight, because you think you probably should have lost more. But, it's going to be different for every single person. And the number 8 on here is submitting your before and after pictures and weights and measurements. And for those of you in the States, you will be able to submit those by March the 7th to be considered for top transformation. That's only available in the USA, by the way, so don't try and do it from here. Okay, it's about shifting your mindset. And I said earlier, but you didn't hear me, you have to get yourself into the right frame of mind to do anything like this. It's, you have to put your head together and kind of go, right, I'm going to do this now. And why isn't it working? Why am I changing this? All the things that you want to do, you need to just shift your mindset so you get the right attitude. And shifting your mindset could be perhaps taking the stairs as opposed to the lift or the elevator. It could be walking that little bit further than you normally do. Now, I'm not a gym bunny, but if you are a gym bunny, then go to the gym and just do an extra couple of sessions or whatever, just to increase that by 1%. But 1% is fantastic, because if you did that on a daily basis, just do something a little bit more, by 1%, you're going to make a huge difference in your life and the results that you get as well. And what that does, the progression that you do make will actually fuel your motivation. And your motivation helps build the momentum. And obviously the momentum then creates the consistency. And consistency is so important because that inspires your confidence. And confidence delivers results, and the results of what drives lasting change. And I'm now going to hand you over to Nigel, and he's going to take you through how the system actually works.
Hi everybody. You don't often hear from me, but I get to talk about this tonight because I have a bit of experience in this arena. Not so much from dieting and yo-yoing and all that kind of stuff, but much more from the helping people to lose weight side of things. And I moved back to this slide because I'm going to come on to the mechanisms that your body goes through in order to help you to effectively transform yourself from the person you are to the one that you'd like to be. But I wanted to just pick up on the mental aspect of this a little bit more, because some years ago I used to do an awful lot of personal development training, facilitating programs to help people to actually move from where they are in their results to where they'd like to be. I still do it, but I tend to do it on a one-to-one basis now rather than with groups. Although actually, if people on our calls like this would like us to do some of that stuff, I'd very happily help. And run some webinars like this in order to help you understand the way you can change what you get in your life as opposed to what you appear to have in your life. And one of the things that became clear to me over the many years I was doing this is that the same people were coming back for the same kind of counseling that they came to before and were still in the same position they were in when they made promises of change in themselves. Now that didn't so much impact on me, except from not so much the curiosity side of things, but in a way a kind of exasperation, because my role in this was to help them facilitate the change that they wanted. But actually what was happening is that essentially they were going away having begun to change, having decided to change, but actually not having the persistence to do it. And the essence of this slide is about delivering on that personally. Because what tends to happen is people go away having said to themselves, right, I'm going to do this, and they run out of momentum because they're not essentially highly motivated enough to make things actually happen. So it's how you create that change in yourself. And it essentially boils down to one very simple thing, and that is that we are the sum of our habits. Whatever you do on an everyday basis is what you will continue to do because you're used to doing it. And change is actually quite difficult to achieve unless you're highly motivated to do it and you focus upon making it actually occur. Now, when it comes to weight and diet in particular, what tends to happen is people look at themselves in the mirror one day and say, you know what, you're fat. And I need to change. I have to do something. So what comes out next? They go to the nearest newspaper that specializes in publishing the next best diet, and they pick up that one and they go for that. They'll probably lose quite a lot of weight, which will be mostly water in the first few days of the diet, and they'll start to feel good about themselves. That hasn't changed the habit. So as the weight comes off, then the momentum dies because they've lost the 4 or 5 or 10 pounds that they've set themselves to do, and within a heartbeat, they're back to the habits they were in before in terms of what they eat, how they eat, when they eat, and why they eat. And those things essentially lead back to the position they were in before. Now, how does all this work in relation to the body? Well, as you get older, as we all do, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't have to worry about weight at all. I was continually the same weight from about the age of 18 to when Sue and I got married, and I had no challenge with it whatsoever. I could do what I liked. Excuse me. And then I gave up smoking. I put on 1 stone in 6 weeks, principally because I got my taste back. And then it's gradually increased over the intervening numbers of years since, because your body goes through changes that actually mean that you are hungrier for longer. And what then tends to happen is you get to a point, which is what happened to me over Christmas, when my daughter said something very interesting around, I think it was, I can't remember whether it was before Christmas or after. She said, "Dad, you're fat." Now that's the first time she's ever said anything like that to me, and I suddenly thought to myself, you know what, you are. And I concluded that actually it's because of the habits I have formed, and because I've never focused on having to look after my weight in any way whatsoever. So I decided I was going to do the Zen program with Sue as we came here to Spain, and we started on that program, and I started to look into it in particular in relation to the physical side of it, which is what I'm going to cover now. There's something very interesting is happening and has happened in relation to the research done by Jeunesse in terms of putting this program together. And it's about the challenge of blood sugar levels. And I don't think any other program has ever picked up on this in particular. But your blood sugar shouldn't be less than 80 or greater than 120. And the reason for that is that, as you see on this slide here, if it drops below 80, what happens is your body says, I need food. But it doesn't go to fat to find it, it goes to your muscle to find it. And the reason for that is it's easier for your body to metabolize muscle than it is to metabolize fat. So it takes the muscle and it uses that for the short-term energy gain. Now, what we tend to do in the West in particular is we have 3 meals a day, or we have 1 or maybe 2 fairly large meals a day, because you were like, any of you are a bit like I was. Like, I used to skip breakfast and I wouldn't eat until lunchtime, generally. And I would miss the food in the morning. I'd get to lunch and I'd be hungry. I'd come home in the evening, I'd have 1 large meal. And so I was essentially spiking the blood sugar levels in my system. So they would go up above the 120 milligrams per deciliter. And that means I had more food in my system than I needed. So what happened to the excess calories got stored as fat. And this is what we do. We eat irregularly and we eat the wrong things. So we're not eating often enough to keep ourselves in the fat burning zone, i.e. between 80 milligrams and 120 milligrams. We're spiking down below 80 and up above 120. And that's one of the mechanisms at play in terms of the long-term, effectively, storage of fat that you have. And that's where I am. Now, in the 2 or 3 weeks that we've been here, Sue and I have been on the diet, on the Zen, and we've been following the rule, which is to eat in threes in terms of proteins, carbs, and fats, and eating every 3 hours. Now, I thought this was going to be tough, but actually it's been really easy because, excuse me again, the 3 hour food increment is a shake, or it's some protein, or it's become very, very simple to do. We're going to cover some sort of recipe ideas and that sort of thing fairly shortly. Let's move on to this. Again, this is all rooted in science. This is what your body's actually doing. So when you understand these things, it's much easier to adapt what you're doing because you understand what the consequences of not doing it are. And I think that's the issue that most people suffer from when they actually diet. They go on to shakes or whatever it happens to be. They lose a lot of weight, but actually they're losing the wrong weight. They're losing the muscle, not the fat. And that's why when you go back onto feeding in the usual way, you effectively put all the weight back on and you continually climb as you get older. So when blood sugar is stable, this is what actually happens to you. And fats turn into muscle, and of course more muscle means you have a faster metabolism. That's a virtuous circle. You're essentially generating more energy because you have it, and it's burning more of the calorie intake you have because you can. The muscles are actually doing that. This is the point Sue was making about body shape and weight, because weight's not the only weight is an indicator of how you are, but it's not the only indicator. Because you can weigh the same but have less fat but much more muscle, and that's what's happening as part of the Zen body system. So when you kind of think about this, if you measure your BMI, now I look at this and I think, 3,500 calories is a pound of fat. So if you need 10 pounds of fat off, that's quite a lot of calories you have to burn. But if you adapt, or rather adopt, the Zen body system, what I've found is I've already dropped, and I haven't weighed myself, but I have already dropped a belt notch in the last 2 weeks since we've been here in Spain. And I'm very confident that that will go on going down until I need to drill new holes in my belt. So the transformation that comes is a slow and steady one as part of the re-education of how you eat, what you eat, when you eat, why you eat. And what that does is it creates a new habit. So the old habit form of skipping breakfast, having lunch and then a large dinner is essentially overwritten by a new habit, which becomes what we're seeing here. So let's just look at the 3 phases again, as Sue mentioned them earlier. Detox. The detox phase is actually simpler than I thought it would be. It's cutting stuff out, it's cleaning your body through, and it's flushing it so that actually you've got clean foods. And we're going to cover a little bit more about what those sorts of things are. All of this, by the way, is in on the Facebook page that you can join, as Sue mentioned earlier. And I encourage all of you to do that, because that will help you to form the new habits that you need to have in order to make this a lifestyle rather than a short-term diet, which will give you some fix, but it won't solve your problem overall. Second phase, ignite. Melt that belly fat, keeping it within that fat burning zone between 80 and 120 milligrams per deciliter of blood sugar. That's eating regularly, the 3 hour eat, doing it in threes to give you the right combination of things. And lastly, the thrive phase, reprogramming yourself. Well, actually, you're beginning to do that through the first 2 anyway, but you do much more of it during the thrive phase, because you'll find a number of things begin to happen. You have more energy, sleep better, as your weight begins to drop, the aches and the pains, the backache and the knees and the rest of it start to improve. You can diversify your diet, and of course it energizes your life. You can become completely new people. But it does take a bit of determination and persistence and building on the momentum. So let's just look at a couple of detox phase sample breakfast here. And actually this is quite nice to have. You know, this isn't revolution, it's really an evolution of just moving your diet from one thing to another. It's balanced. It gives you the right balance of proteins, fats, and carbs. It's quick, it's easy to do, it's nutrition, and it's tasty. It's not difficult to make this happen, as long as you actually begin to form the discipline. So in the ignite phase, what we're looking to do is burn fat effectively. You're igniting your metabolism by taking 1 capsule of the Zen Shake, and an afternoon Zen Pro Shake, which is protein. That's helping you to fit in the 3-hourly eating routine in some way or another. So you've got food in your system that actually helps to maintain that blood sugar level. And by the way, if you want to, or you need to, if you're particularly overweight, I think the guidance is over 50 pounds above what you should be, then you can do a second detox phase, which will help to clean your body even further. Second thing we're doing is we start then to build in some exercise activity in order to begin to shape your body better. Because of course, you know, a pound of muscle actually occupies about 1/4 of the space of a pound of fat. So you can weigh the same, but take an awful lot of inches off. And that's what Sue was talking about a little earlier. Very straightforward, simple activity, 30 minutes of strength training, just doing a little bit of Pilates or yoga, workout class, CrossFit. Don't go mad, because what happens here is people run at it like a bull at a gate and they end up injuring themselves because they're going too fast at it. This is not like the microwave. It doesn't cook it in 10 minutes. You've got to change things over time. It takes time to develop those new habits. And 2 days a week, we're looking at sort of fairly high intensity cardio, jumping, rope, running, spinning, you know, get on a bike, on a static bike in the gym if you like, watch some television and do some that way. But that's all part of the program. And then 30 minutes of fat burning cardio. 80% of your theoretical heart rate, excuse me, maximum heart rate. To do that, you've got a pen handy. Take your age. Theoretical maximum is 220 beats a minute. Take your age off that, whatever it is, and then take 80% of that number. And that is the fat burning zone in terms of your cardio, your heart rate at the time. So get your heart rate to that level. That keeps you in the fat burning zone without overstressing yourself. Because if you get into the cardio zone again, now you're starting to burn muscle because you can't liberate the fat. So, and then we're into restore phase, restoring the muscle with Zen protein shakes. Proteins are building blocks for muscle. You need them in order to help you do that. And as you can see here as a sample meal plan, breakfast, then a mid-morning Zen Pro shake and a Zen shake, shake, lunch, mid-afternoon again, protein shake, Zen shake, dinner, and a late night. If you've been out in the evening, then do the same thing again. Every 3 hours, and this works. Okay, ignite phase, sample lunch. This looks great. I could be quite happy to have this. Excuse me. And they're all the recipes these recipes, just one example of each that we're showing. They're all again available in the Zen Project 8 Facebook page, available for everybody to use, download, and then pick the ones you like. Because there's nothing like having to give things up for an indeterminate goal, one that you're not particularly focused on. You make some progress, then stop and go backwards because of it. Pick the things you like, use those because they'll make a difference. The last phase, the third phase, the thrive phase. Live your life. Years ago, we used to run a particular program based on some of the work by a chap called James Gladwin. You can look him up. Called "Live the Life You Live," love the life you live, and live the life you love. And that was his mantra. In many ways, that's quite appropriate because he spent, I think it was 16 or 18 years as a monk, then came out of that, came into mainstream as a personal development advisor and coach to all kinds of people from governments down. He talks about that and the 21-day change program. 21 days, form new habits. Practice this for 21 days. You will have formed a new habit because it becomes easier and easier and easier the more you do it. So here again, sample meal plan: breakfast, mid-morning, lunch, mid-afternoon, dinner, and late at night if you don't sleep a huge amount. We're talking about reprogramming, diversifying your eating habits, which you can then do again much more easily, and energizing through more exercise. So there's a Thrive phase sample dinner recipe. You will notice that these are not huge meals. And the reason they're not huge meals is because actually, as this goes by, you'll find yourself eating less and less. I know that sounds odd, but you are eating relatively frequently, but because your blood sugar is not spiking up or dropping really low, what happens when you get low blood sugar is you start to wobble, you start to crave something, foods, and the easiest thing for most people to do, nip into the sweet shop and stick a Mars bar down the neck. That's not what we're suggesting here. If you do that every 3 hours, you will not have that craving. It really, really works. So here's a suggested meal plan for females and males based on different calorie values and serving sizes, because of course, there are gender differences and there are different demands placed on the body from a calorie point of view. But essentially, the balance is the same. It may just be a slightly larger size. Again, all this is available in the back office and on the Facebook page. Sue's going to share all those links with you shortly. And now I'm just going to hand this back to Sue, who's going to take you through the mechanism by which to actually buy this stuff, because it's actually quite important you understand it, because there are some techniques you need to know about. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Nigel. Let me reiterate again. Apologies for the problem we've had this evening, but it's it's now working fine. The one thing I'd like to quickly say about the meal plan is that they're saying that you should eat an hour after waking and have your last meal within an hour before bedtime. And so that's quite interesting, because people tend not to eat. We're told, you've gone lots of different guidelines, you shouldn't eat after 6 o'clock in the evening. So, that's put to bed now. So we've changed the way we've started to eat already, which is great. And we're getting good results, which is even better. So how do you go and purchase this yourself? Okie dokie. Right. So if you go to the website that someone has actually given to you, so this is your retail website. So if you're wanting customers, if you're a customer, you would actually select the country. So this is in the UK only, I should say, at the moment. And the reason we have this in the UK is because we've got a 7-day ruling about, so we can't order the package because it's over the maximum amount. So we have, you select the country, you then select United Kingdom, and then you go to products. You'll see this brings up this block panel, and on the far right, you'll see a number of packages. And the packages there are exactly the same as the, sorry about that, chaps. Exactly the same as the packages that you get on the other side as a distributor, but these are on the customer side. So you can then order the nutritional package. And by ordering the nutritional package, you click on that, and that will bring this up. You're only allowed to order one of these because if you're going to become a distributor and get the best possible price, then you're only allowed to order one of those. So you would add that to the cart, click on there. You will then take you through to this page. This page will give you the basic nutritional package for the Zen. So that will bring it to £150.88. And then you would check out. You go through the checkout process as normal. Now, you'll come up to this page then. And so you've got returning customers, checkout, guest checkout, and new customers. Do not go to returning customers or guest checkout. You need to be going to new customers. Why is that? It's because with the guest checkout, you do not create an account. It's done as if you're just like a drop shipment from the distributor one. So you need to create that account for your order to be accepted and then taken through. So you then create an account. Here we've done a pseudo one here, so it's Fred Anyone. As long as the email has not been used before within the Jeunesse back office, then you can use it. So you would then click on there, submit, and then that will do. Once you've completed the payment process, the payment's completed, you will get an order number. It will say your order has been successful, and then you would log out. If you wait 5 minutes, and then log back in with your email address and password, please make a note of it because you're the only one who knows those. A pop-up will immediately ask you, would you like to be upgraded to a distributor? And if the answer is yes, then you would click the button and pay the distributor fee of £19.77 plus VAT. And if you do it before the 31st of January, 2016, you will only pay $1 or the equivalent of 74 pence or 85 euros throughout the whole of Europe from your personalized website. So that is a really fantastic, kind of discount in my view. You get your full retail site, your personalized website, all your back office for $1 or the equivalent. All the volume that you created as a customer when you purchased your package will be brought across to your distributor account, making you an active distributor. Just remember that this is only necessary in the United Kingdom. For those of you in Europe and America, you can just go ahead and order yours, no problem whatsoever. We have an amazingly difficult system sometimes, but we just have to get around it in certain ways. So that's how you would do that. And these are the sites that I was mentioning about. It's www.zenproject8.com. That's where you'll find all your Hangouts. So the Hangouts which go out on Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is, as I said, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, depending whether you're in the UK or Europe. Much too late for me, thank you, much too early. So you can watch those at your leisure as many times as you want to, which is great. And then to get into the Facebook group, you would just go to facebook.com/groups/Zen Project 8. If you become part of that with the daily recipes and the support from both Kataya J, who's our social media expert, and Mark McDonald, and it's where, as I said, you can share your challenges, your goals, your photographs to help you keep on track, which is really important, really, really important. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now. So hopefully that's back here. Hello, everybody again. So for me and Nigel, it's kind of good night. We do apologise yet again for the problems we've had on our webinar. I tell you, technology and me do not get along, obviously. I will send out a link to all the people who were registered on the first one and send them the replay link for this as soon as I come off this webinar. So thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you actually got some value out of tonight. And if you have something you would particularly like to learn about or know about, let us know, because if you do, it makes it easy, because we know that we're talking about the right stuff for you. So thank you again for your patience. And thanks, Marie, for giving me a heads up that it was incorrect at the time. No idea what went wrong. Anyway, thank you very much, and we look forward to speaking to you next Monday. We'll be doing that from London, and in fact, we'll be in Chichester. So before we come back from UK. So look forward to speaking to you next week, and have a great week, and go sponsor lots of people. And have lots of fun. Bye.